Hello, my friends, and welcome to a space where pleasure is treasured, relaxation is not what you think it is, and life firing on all cylinders is what we're about. If you are somebody who wakes up every day asking for way more, consider this your happy place. Welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. I'm your host, Heather Nichols. Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Creation of Living podcast. And this week you have me, myself, and I. I don't have a guest with me this time, or shall we say the guest of the week is the universe. I want to talk today about this thing that we talk about in Access Consciousness, which is the phrase following the energy. And really, what does it mean to lead and follow at the same time? Lead with what it is that you know, your creative vision of the future, while really working beautifully in concert with the universe, with the energies that are available to you at all times, and using those energies to really weave and create something that is different, new, has never existed before, and also that has a lot of ease with it. So often we have these visions of the future that we would like to create, the future that we would like to have, and that could include other people and the world, like the world we wish to live in. And it can also, be very personal. It could be something about your body or a relationship or your business or your money flows or whatever. Your reality as a parent, with your family. And a lot of times we have these asks, we have these desires, we have these visions of what we would like our lives to be like. And I guess I want to start with saying the first thing you want to do is make sure that it's your vision, your desire. That's actually whatever it is that you're asking for is actually true for you. Because the most dynamic way to set up the creation of anything so that you will have a lot of ease and joy and glory in creating whatever that is to make sure that you actually desire it. So many of us have desires. We tell ourselves that we have desires about things that are way more the desires that other people have, or like what we're supposed to desire, rather than what's true for us. One example is from my own life is my relationship with my partner. We've been together for 15 years, and we have never lived together, and we don't actually intend to. And we spend a lot of time together. We own houses together, but we don't live together like full time. And that is it's one of those things that I thought I wanted, and we were sort of like trying to create, but it wasn't really showing up. And then I realized, wait a minute, that's just what I thought I was supposed to do in a relationship. What's actually true for me? Well, what's true for me is I love to have my space. He loves to have his space. We love to come together and have time apart. We love to really mix it up and keep things very alive and dynamic. And our relationship is so phenomenal as a result of that. And if we had, stuck to like, we want to live together because that's what we're supposed to do, then it would have been very hard to create, because it's not true for us. And if something isn't true for you that you're asking for, it won't show up. Your being will make sure that it doesn't show up. Your being in the universe will make sure that it doesn't show up, which is really kind of cool, because we don't end up creating things we don't desire. Sometimes they do show up because we force them into existence against all the energetic indications that it's not true for us. And that's a bit of a story for another time. But the way to set up creation from the get-go To have it be very elegant and easeful and fluid is to actually have it be um, to have it be really congruent, like to be congruent with what it is that you're asking for, and be willing to ask yourself the tough questions. Is this actually true for me? Do I really desire this? And be willing for it to be a no and change course. Being willing to change on a dime is a great gift, and it creates a lot for it makes things easier. If you're not holding on to stuff and you're willing to change on a dime, it makes things so much easier. So once you have a clarity of what is true for you that you're asking for, then it's like you have the vision, you have the desire, you have the request that you're making of the universe and of yourself to create whatever that is. And this is where there's sort of like, I don't know, I guess I would say like maybe kind of two main camps for how this goes. And there's a million different ways to create, of course, but there's the camp that's like force it, make it happen, make your goals, do whatever you need to do to accomplish those goals, make them happen. And it's very, there's this point of view in that camp that it's all up to you. Everything is up to you to get her done, make it happen. There's a lot of adrenaline pump involved in that. Like we get into this kind of like fight or flight, and we get, like our system gets very jacked up, and we work really hard. And most people have some experience with that way of creating because it's basically how we're taught. And high achievers, people that are successful and have created a lot, tend to have a lot of that kind of drive. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. There is, however, a space of relaxation that is very different, that requires a lot of courage, a lot of willingness to not know what you're doing, and still be willing to lead with your desires and what it is that you're asking for, and follow the energy. The energy, the universe is always dropping breadcrumbs in our path um, to show us like, hey, go here, do this, choose this. And none of it is logical. None of it is logical. So the willingness to follow the energy with what it is that you desire to create, it's a very different way of functioning. You have to kind of like jump tracks to a different space of being and creating and choosing. And it will yield so much magic. It will yield so much beauty, so much possibility. It's amazing. Um, and one of the things that it kind of looks like along the way is that you won't necessarily know what you're doing. But that is a good thing. And that's where we have this like the interplay of the desire and the sense of like, yes, I know what I'm up to. I know what I'm creating. I'm not giving myself up. I'm not being like, well, the universe wants me to blah, 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 because that's not really how that works. It's we bring our desires, our creative juice, our, the possibilities that we're aware of. We bring that to play with the universe, and we're part of the universe, of course. We're not separate from it. So often we see ourselves as separate from it. But we bring that to play, and it becomes this like beautiful co-creative process where the universe will give you inputs and drop these beautiful breadcrumbs, and then you receive and perceive and become aware of all these things, and you step in and step in and step in more to what it is that you can actually um, what you can create and what it is that you can do, the choices that you can make, and really letting go of your mind, letting go of the logic, letting go of the how. I always say to people, you're off the hook for ever having to know how again, and that's really true. how we are going to get from point A to point B or point zebra or point two or whatever it may be. Um, it's not really relevant to us, and that's part of the adventure. It's part of the adventure of creation that actually shows us a greater possibility, and where we get to become more in the process. Who you will be when whatever you're asking for shows up is not who you are now. And a big part of receiving more and greater in your life is this movement toward this bigger space, like and how we do that is we actually be more. Like you start to be more choices become available to you, different and new questions become available to you, different like curiosities and musings about how things work, and then also new choices become available to you. You be more, you be greater, and you're willing to make greater choices, and that is a very powerful space from which to function. So okay, so let's talk a little bit about kind of more of the nitty gritty and the specifics of how, of like the breadcrumbs, that the universe is leaving in our path, and how we go about following those. So first of all, whatever you're asking to have more of or create or have as new or different in your life, go with the energy of it. So take a moment, and you can do that right now, and just get present with the energy of it. Now, a lot of people do like visioning and vision boards and things like that. And that can be a tool if that works for you. I would really encourage you to stay out of making it too visual. A lot of times you'll see like a vision of something, you'll have a visual of like a picture of something in your head. One of the downfalls of working with visuals when it comes to actualizing, manifesting, whatever you want to call it, is that we tend to get really attached to the physicality of that image that we have, the specifics of it, how it looks exactly. And a lot of times we can actually kind of like go out into the future and create it. And then it's done. Like it's energetically, it's not there anymore, or it's already been done. It's already been created, and there's no energy to it, right? So what you want to do is like get the sense of like what you're asking for, and then let go of all the stories around it, let go of the visuals around it, let go of the timeline. That's a huge one. Just let go of all the specifics and really allow yourself to kind of like steep in the energy. So it's like, okay, so what is the energy of this, and how is this going to work, how is this going to play out, and don't worry about that. Actually, what is the energy of this, like how it's going to work and play out is where you let the universe in a different way, but be with the energy of it and just let yourself receive the energies. It can be like a somatic experience in your body. It can be just a perceiving of energies that maybe doesn't involve your body as much, but it's more of just this kind of like awareness. And a lot of times for me, the energies are very, very subtle. There's a lot of space, there's a lot of expansiveness, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of opening and relaxation, a lot of magic. And the funny thing is when we let go of the specifics, we let go of the vision, we let go of how we want it to be, and we back away from that and into the space of the energy of our requests. We let the universe in such a greater way, because now it can look like anything. And another thing that I just often talk about in my classes and with clients and things is, if your life, or if you, in say a year from now, you were so happy with your life, you were so happy, you were so excited, you were so like everything was phenomenal. There was abundance, there was beauty, there was joy, there was just like magic, and everything was really wonderful. And, and your life looked absolutely nothing like you thought you wanted it to today. At that point in a year, would you care? Would you care if your life looked completely different than you thought you wanted to, than you think you want it to? You wouldn't care. You'd be so happy, so busy living your life and full of joy and peace and ease and glory and relaxation and abundance that it wouldn't matter to you. That's happened to me so many times with so many things where I got to the future that I was creating and I was like, oh, looks nothing like I thought it was going to. It's actually greater than I could have ever conjured on my own. And I was willing to let go and let the universe show me what I could choose along the way and what new possibilities were available that allowed me to really follow those breadcrumbs and actualize what it is that is now my life. And I mean, I could say that right now. Like my life now today is so much greater. I love my life. I have an amazing life in so many ways, and just like really love being alive and me and creation and all the things that I have going. And I never, when I got divorced, gosh, it was, I don't know, 16 years ago, I guess. Um, that was a very pivotal point for me where I started visualizing stuff, and really setting out on a different path of creation. And luckily, I had the tools of access consciousness along the way to really show me so much more about how the energetics of creation work. And I just didn't. It wasn't. It wasn't like what I thought I wanted then is not what my life is now. It's so much greater because along the way, there were all kinds of people and things and creations and possibilities that I was able to add to my life that I didn't know 16 years ago existed. I didn't know about access consciousness 16 years ago. Uh, I didn't know, so I couldn't have even asked to be facilitating access consciousness classes all over the world because I didn't know about that. But my openness and my willingness to explore and say yes to things that matched the energies that I was asking for brought it into my life. And then I just kept going and going and going. So the breadcrumbs start to kind of drop into your path in a more dynamic and robust way when you really get clear on the energies and let it be like the energies can be very clear, very powerful, but let them be broad brushstrokes. And with that, you really you really hone in on the energetics of it, and you can leave all of the rest of it up to the universe. And this is where a lot of trust needs to be part of the equation and a lot of choice on your part. Because what will happen is you're like, okay, universe, all of these energies like peace, ease, joy, glory, relaxation, abundance, beauty. Time, for me, it's like time in nature, time with beautiful people, a lot of like beautiful, like food and nurturing and like bodies and, like play and expansiveness and exploration and, all these amazing energies of what I asked for. It's like, that is those are palpable energies. And then I'm like, you show me dear universe, show me what's possible with this. Show me what you got. Because the universe is infinite. It has way more available than what's we know of in our mind. And so it's like, don't use your mind. Like, let go of your mind. And that's why you don't have to know how. You just let go. Easier said than done, I know, but it's a constant choice that you have every day to just be like, I'm not going to try to think this. I'm not going to try to plan it. I'm not going to try to figure out how. I'm going to ask. and I'm going to relax. Now, your relaxation, adding your relaxation is such it's an elemental. It's an energy that like is a building block for magic, let's say. And there's a lot of those types of energies. Your relaxation allows the universe to work its magic and drop all kinds of breadcrumbs. And it also allows you to see the breadcrumbs. Like if you're like hyper focused, looking for something specific, and there's these teeny tiny little breadcrumbs in your path, you're not going to see them. So when you're relaxed, you have this kind of like soft, expanded sense. It's not just your vision, but it's like your sense, and you can start to perceive so much more, so many more subtle energies and these little tiny breadcrumbs. And sometimes the tiniest little breadcrumb will be like, you know, it's like the universe's way of going, hey, look over here, and you're like, oh. But if you're not relaxed, if you're like hyper focused and worried about your future and wondering how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen and where it's going to happen and with whom it's going to happen, all these things, you miss so many things. You miss so many cues and clues and energies, because the energetics of creation and the elegance of creation is so incredibly subtle, and it becomes more and more subtle all the time. So we have to be in that space of subtlety and just kind of knowing, like, hey, I asked for this, it's going to show up. I know it is. And the relaxation that allows for all of those things to just, those breadcrumbs to drop, and then for you to be like, wow, this is so cool. There's so many breadcrumbs here. There's so many energies here. What can I choose? Now, every single energy breadcrumb that you lean into, it's going to open a whole universe for you. And this is the beauty of, this is like the adventure of living. This is the creation of living, is that every day you perceive these new energies based on your presence, your awareness, the things you're asking for, and the universe is like, great, here you go, and you perceive these new energies, and then you go, well, cool, I'm going to choose that, I'm going to choose that, I'm going to choose that. Every choice that you make opens a universe. Even the tiniest, what seems like the tiniest choice, will open a whole universe for you. And as that universe opens, then it's like, wow, okay, like this is cool, you know? There's all kinds of things that you didn't know about before, because you have to choose in order to have more awareness. You also have to be curious and ask questions in order to have more awareness. So your job as a leader and a follower simultaneously with the universe is to choose and be like, okay, I don't know what that is, I don't know how it's going to show up, but I'm going to have that. Sometimes choice is just, there's a new energy and you go, I'll have that, and that's simple, and you just, now it's in the mix, it's in the mix of what you're creating, what you're asking for. Sometimes it's more like you need to go do something or call somebody or talk to somebody or create something. Like it's more of an action that you need to take. And a lot of times those actions kind of, they can be edgy, they can feel challenging to us in terms of like, we don't necessarily know, it's out of your comfort zone. That's part of following the energy, is like, leave your comfort zone behind. Your comfort zone has created what you have now. If you stay in your comfort zone, you'll have more of what you have now. You won't have new, different, greater. You have to leave your comfort zone to have new, different, greater, more, and magic and miraculousness, So leave your comfort zone. Make that something that has no value to you at all. And it's like, I always feel like it's just this fun being, like, I really enjoy being on the creative edge, the creative edge of exploration and possibility, and just really tapping into what it is that what it is that I know and that I'm aware of, um, and what it is that is, being revealed to me as I follow the breadcrumbs, that opens up all these new universes that I'm like, wow, I've never explored this before, but I'm gonna, or I've never done this before, or I've never had this conversation before, or it makes me really uncomfortable to talk to this person or create this thing, or whatever it may be. um, but do it. When you're uncomfortable, that's a really good sign. It means magic is right around the corner. And so pursue that, like actively seek out those moments of discomfort where you're like, this breadcrumb is completely foreign to me. Cool, let's do it. It matches the energy of what I've been asking for. I'm going to follow it. And then all of a sudden, a universe opens to you. Like for me with Access Consciousness, that was like a whole universe opened to me when I found the tools of Access Consciousness. And it was breadcrumb after breadcrumb after breadcrumb, choosing to take classes that I didn't think I could afford. And it was like, it just became this whole, every choice like open up this huge universe that hadn't been there before, I didn't have access to before. And then it was like, wow, now I could choose all of these things I never thought I could choose. You become greater as you make these types of choices to follow those breadcrumbs. As you become greater, your asks can, you can kind of refine them in a way, like they become more um, palpable, more available. Those energies that you've been asking for, they start to become more of your life. You wake up one morning and you're like, oh, things are so different. I didn't even realize, but things are different. And sometimes it's things are different. That's weird. I'm weird, but just keep going, and and the more we just stretch with every one of those breadcrumbs that we follow, that we choose, that we say yes to, and the way well, let me finish that thought. The more we do that, with every breadcrumb, we become a different person, a new person, a greater person. We build on what we already be. We let go of what we were not actually, to begin with, and there's so much more. Now, how do the breadcrumbs like show up? What are the pragmatics of that? Well, it's just something that you know. And this is why you have to leave logic and you have to leave your mind behind, because it's something that you know, where you're just like, I just know I need to call this person. I just know I need to do this. Like for me, I was asking, where can I go to balance the earth? I love that question with classes and things that I'm creating. And the Middle East was just like so, it continues to be like really popping. And I've looked at going to the Middle East. Like I've been there once to do classes in Dubai a couple years ago, but I've looked at it for many years and it was kind of like, but when I started asking that, and it was now was the time, it was like it really matched these energies of the future I'd like to create and see in the world, and so many energies. So it was like, okay, cool. So I was like, all right, I'll go to the Middle East. Now I've chosen that. That was an inkling that I had. It was like, where can I go to balance the earth? You could look at a map and just be like, that pops, that country pops or whatever. Um, but don't think about it. Don't rationalize it. Don't make it logical. Don't think about it. Just, oh, okay, cool, that. Okay, now I've added that to my world. That's part of my world now. Now, now what is a great question. Now what, universe? Show me with some more breadcrumbs. I've done my part in choosing to follow the energies that have shown up that match what I'm asking for. That's the dance of leading and following. I've done my part to choose. Now, choice is only good for 10 seconds. So you've got more awareness, there's new energies in your world. Now you got to keep choosing. And so for me, like with going to the Middle East, it was like, okay, so who, what, when, where, I'm not going to figure it out, but like, just let me know, universe, when. Just let me know who. Okay, people started coming into my world, and then it was like Bahrain popped. And my beautiful host in Bahrain, she was like, look at a map, look at these countries, which one which one pops, you know? It was like Bahrain. I didn't even need to look at a map. I was like, I know, Bahrain. And even as I say that, it's like so light. My body like has this like glow and radiance and excitement about it. You know, it's like that expands my world. Cool. Okay, so then we started putting things together. So there's just choice after choice after choice. And at some point, it could have even been, oh, we did what we came here to do and I didn't even go. You know, like that happens sometimes where you start moving toward a creation and then the energy changes and it's time to just let it go. But that doesn't mean that it's didn't create something. You know, it added to your life, it added to their life, like it, you know, and these particular events that I'm doing in Bahrain, it's happening in 2 weeks. Oh my goodness. You know, there's a real sense of that I am going, you know, and it's like it's humming and it's rolling and it's, you know, and sometimes it doesn't, you know, and so, but it's not about getting to the end product. There is no end product. It's the adventure of following the energies, those little whispers, those little inklings, the things that you just know you need to do, you need to choose, and having the courage to do that without knowing how it's going to show up, but you just keep moving and shaking and following and leading at the same time with your vision, your desires, your asks, the energies that you know you would like to have as your life, as a world. And it's just like this beautiful dance. And it literally can be every day of your life can be like that. Truly. Every day of your life can be like that in the dance of leading and following, leading and following, leading and following, co creating with the universe, the earth, and everything that there is. This is, it's such a gift to get to create like this. You can't think about it. You can't know how. You won't know how. None of that matters. Leave that behind if you are interested in a different way of functioning that acknowledges that you are an energetic being who creates energetically. And that's the language. That's the wheelhouse. That's the playground on which we play as energetic beings. And when you say, yep, that's how I'm going to live my life, which is basically what I've done, many I do every day, because it's a continuous choice, there is enormous magic that shows up, enormous magic. But you can't hold on to anything. You got to be willing to let go of anything on a dime. You can't try to control. And this is a different way of leading that has such a depth of trust that the universe has your back and that you, as you move, the universe is moving with you. The expansion of your life is the expansion of the universe, is the expansion of the world, is the expansion of future possibilities. When you know that, you're like, of course, this is how it works. Of course, this is what's happening. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. Ignore it. Don't worry about what's going on in the world. The way that you change that is not by fighting it and going to try to direct it. It's by creating a totally different reality that is ease, joy, and glory, and magic and miraculousness for you. And then other people see that, or they get a whiff of it, and they're like, okay, I'm done with all this stupid riffraff over here. I'd like something different. I'd like something easier. A lot of people would like something easier. They just don't know how to have it. They don't even know that it's possible. So we can be that which kind of demonstrates that that's possible, but do it in such a way that you don't, it's not really about showing the world and trying to convince the world to function like you do. It's more just like, here's a possibility, choose it or not. I still get to have the magic of the dance of leading and following the energy and the elegance of creation. So I hope this was a contribution to you. I have some online stuff coming up that's going to deep dive more into this. And one of them is actually a class in Dubai called the Elegance of Creation. It's going to be on May 5th, and it's also going to be online. and some more stuff that hasn't been posted as of this, the day that we share this podcast. But you can always look back on my website, heathernichols.com/events, and be tapped in there with what's going on. And all kinds of creation classes. I mean, there's a Business Done Different, which is an amazing class in following the energy. There's my Generative Business Pods, which is a 6-month deep dive into this conversation, really. Where that one will be opening up again in August. And there is a Business Done Different class happening starting at the end of May. So lots of amazing creation conversations available. And how much fun can you have following as the leader that you are and enjoying the dance of creation? Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Creation of Living podcast. If this conversation was inspiring to you, share the love. To work privately with me or for info on my upcoming classes and retreats, go to heathernichols.com. Have a beautiful day, and remember that the world thrives when you do.